sort of tunneling on it, but I'm not sure you should give away that Shyvana to Freddy. He played it very well yesterday against the Wolves.
We'll see whether that's going to be the next choice. Shyvana, of course, now available for Freddy122. Jezz is waiting to see what he's going to select.
So this is our 12th game of Super Week. Yasuo has been banned in 6 out of our 12 games, has not been picked in the other 6. He is available, but I don't think we're going to tunnel on him as much. I don't feel like Jezz is going to play that type of assassin. We haven't seen him on those types of champions at all. Not since DreamHack, not since he's been pulled into the fold for SK Gaming. But it is just nice to keep note of the new champions.
Well, of course, SUPA HOT CREW, they had it available against Roccat and didn't choose it either.
Correct, yeah.
Jinx potentially going to get picked here. You already said he's got a 5-1 win ratio so far, Jinx has. Of course, a lot of that's down to Reckless absolutely destroying everyone. But it looks like Freddy122 is going to be allowed Shyvana again, like he had against the Wolves, and it worked to great effect.
So with Leona, Annie, and Thresh being taken away... Whoa.
Whoa.
That was unexpected. That is very unexpected. With the Galio being locked in, changing away from Jinx. They don't need to lock Jinx in because an 80 carry is already secured. And this is actually a potential counter to some of these run-at-you type of comps. If Dr. Mundo was there, if they want to go for, say, Pantheon, for example, it's something that SUPA HOT CREW have done already. The moment you throw that Idol of Duran down from Galio, everybody's forced to deal with you. And if you buy enough time for your Shyvana and your 80 carry to actually kill them, it can work. But I think this is a very risky pick.
Well, Gragas locked in. That's going to be Moops in the mid lane. Or will it be? Will it switch to jungler? Of course they will. Looks like it's going to be that Xin Zhao in the jungle for Impaler. Wait to see if it gets locked in. Yes, it will. So falls back to the champion he knows, the one he's got a victory on already.
I also like this pickup for multiple reasons. Gragas can interrupt the Idol of Durand with his ultimate if he stays far enough away. And if Impaler goes in with Xin Zhao and he puts on his 3-talent strike, you are going to get taunted to hit Galio. You are going to hit him. You are forced to. You can knock him up. You can actually break that interruption. Once we see a little bit of attack speed on Impaler Xin Zhao, that's almost like a soft counter to that very powerful AoE ultimate. And I'm very scared about the channel time that Jezz is going to get with this pick.
Well, Candy Panda used to be known as Caitlyn Panda, who was a champion of... Honestly, I used to mix up with his name so many times, so it would not shock me if he goes with it. And this is actually something we haven't noticed on. Kassadin is available, has been banned, I think, 100% of the time. This is the first time he may well snuck through.
He's featured a lot in the bans. I don't actually think it's 100% bans.
It's a Galio support. Sure. No, it's elite support.
Yeah. I would say elite. It could be Galio.
What is N-Rated doing? Is he playing with our heartstrings here?
I actually have no idea where this Galio is going to go. You'd have to put Shyvana top lane. I think Svenskeren is a ganking jungler, so he would have to take Elise, and it has to be Galio support. I can see it maybe working, but his mana costs are immensely high, and this is going to be very difficult to deal with against Mr. Roll's poke.
Well, we talked about how many unique champions we've had, and N-Rated may well have pulled out a shocker that would even surprise Edward here, I feel, because Galio support up against, well, or is it going to be up against? That's the question. Are they going to go for that 2v1?
I think SK Gaming have a case to go for 2v1 because of the long-range poke damage that Galio does. However, if they go for 2v1, it's just to farm up and try push a tower. Melee champions in a 2v1 lane are very difficult to actually take a tower down quickly. If you put a Leona in there, it doesn't necessarily work out. So that would actually give Lucian and Nami the pushing power to shut down a tower very early on. So I actually think maybe with that in mind, SK may want to try get N-Rated up to level 6 as quickly as possible, stick him in a 2v2 lane, he can play safe, he can use his shield to gain some HP back, and just try to keep Lucian and Nami at bay with his incredible long-range poke. But his mana costs are immensely high. Well,
he's gone with Flash Ignite, as has Nami, so we'll see how it works out, whether they're going to be in the lane or not. That's the question. As the teams do load into the Rift, let's check out who you guys at home have been voting for. And the numbers, well, it is close, but it is 53% of you voting for the SUPA HOT CREW, which means you guys at home believe that have no faith in SK Gaming, honestly. You know, this is a team that fought the way through, beat SUPA HOT CREW 3-2. They should surely be favorites.
In theory, in theory. However, Nif was the support who was leading them in that battle with his Annie, with his Leona play. Now we have N-Rated on Galio. And this is a massive question mark. I have never, ever seen a support Galio before. And I think it's a risky pick that if he falls behind, I don't see too many ways for Galio to bring himself back into this. So the opening 5 to 6 minutes of this game are going to be very important.
Well, we are about to get things underway here, ladies and gentlemen. It is day 3 of the League of Legends Championship Series. SK Gaming, they're going to be starting out as the blue team, and the Super Hot Crew are the red team. Who will take first blood? Will Galio be a part of it?
They want him to. Now, the one thing that does play into the favor here of SK Gaming is the early damage at levels 2 and 3. 4 and rated. If he puts some points into his Q and his E spells, the Resolute Smite as well as the Righteous Gust, it does have very good range and very good damage. So he'll be able to keep Nami and Lucian at bay for as long as he's able to keep his mana pool up. At this point in time, each of those spells is very expensive. You're talking 70 mana and 60 mana, and he's only got 280 to play with.
Well, small pause. It is on the Super Hot Crew side by the looks of it. Or no, tell a lie, it's down the end. It is N-rated. By the looks of it, talking to the admin just down the end. I can see hand waving. Of course, the players can't talk during this period about the game at all. They can't talk at all. They've just been completely locked out. Of course, all of their comms are actually monitored, so we know whether they talk or not. N-rated talking to the admin, making sure everything is sorted out. He's obviously got an issue, and that's Galio. There's a lot of pressure on him, I feel.
Yeah, a huge amount of pressure. We'll have to see how well he can actually play in this matchup. Busy chatting to the admins. Interestingly about those headsets, before we carry on the picks, they generate static noise, which many people don't realize.
White noise, yeah.
White noise, as it were. I've played a game on the stage with those things, and it's very, very difficult to focus on what you're doing with that in and around, because you can hear it through the game sounds. When it's quiet and nobody's dying in spells, it's intense.
Things they got to do to make sure they don't hear your voice.
Tough life. Now, the point we were getting back to with Galio, with Galio, is the fact that once he hits 6, it's a very powerful initiation. A flash idol where you can root people in place, combo it with a Kassadin who has teleport. That is a very, very scary insta-kill possibility, and I definitely think we'll be seeing Jez doing a lot of roaming with that champion.
And a lot of people have been asking us what these little white packs are. They're hand warmers. See, here under the stage lights, it's pretty damn warm, and the crowd are probably relatively warm. I can see a few people with hoodies up, mind you. But up on the stage, it's pretty cold up there.
Yeah, there's a lot of air conditioning going on. Those are very cool little packs. Just make sure their fingers are warmed up. What was the term you used yesterday? Stretching their fingers.
That wasn't
me.
That was the other guy.
Well, as it stands right now, and is of course Jez is on your screen, going to be playing this Kassadin. It's the first time we're seeing him on a bit of a roaming assassin type champion. He tends to play the long range skill shots. We've seen him playing, Gragas, Nidalee, and Ziggs an extensive amount. Orianna, intermittently here and there. And this is the first time that we're going to see how he handles himself on one of Europe's sort of signature champions.
And while we do have this wait, looks like just trying to see whether they're restarting the machine. I think there's going to be a slight delay here, I feel, of this game. But SK Gaming versus Super Hot Crew, they're both 1-1 for Super Hot Crew, I believe, and 1-2 for SK Gaming right now.
So just in terms of the performances, Super Hot Crew beat Alliance in a very exciting game. They took
dominated
charge
Alliance
and never really gave Alliance a chance. But on the same token, their gambit against Rocket didn't work out. That was where they ran the unique strat that Nunu,
and in fairness, I spoke to Impaler about that, and he was just like, yeah, that's not going to happen again. That was a bad choice. They were not expecting the Pantheon Malphite, that's for sure, and that kind of caught them out. But the thing is, I think they said they weren't expecting the Malphite, which is why they picked the Nunu, yet they picked the Nunu after.
Correct.
So whether they were just on a static line, and this is maybe down to the fact that the team has come in very last minute. They haven't had a chance to talk strategies about if this happens, if this situation happens. And I think back to the World Championships when we were sat in the room trying to work out the World Finals, what picks and bans they're going to go with Jan, Deficio, and all the other guys. We're trying to figure out who they're going to go with. And it took hours to work out. So that's just the one game, one best of 3 we're trying to work out. These guys are coming into Super Week with 1 day's notice. It's a lot to take in.
It is a massive amount, and even a greater thing on top of that is when you try to cram information at last minute and you plan and you prep, you say, well, we can do this comp, we can do that comp. What happened to them is they tunneled on this particular vision, and they said, this is what we want. They got 3 of the champions they wanted, then the Malphite locked in. And because they got 3 out of 5, they also said, well, we've got most to go, we have to commit to it now. Instead of trying to adapt. And that's the difference between the bottom 4 level teams and the top 4 level teams, is that in-game picks and bans, they can adjust their situations, adjust who they're locking in to make it fit, make it work. And that's what the best teams are. Actually, that's what I think Fnatic does phenomenally well right now. That and no one taking Jinx away from them is definitely helping them in these opening matches of the LCS.
Yeah, and what's always helped Fnatic is the fact that they have a multiple way of playing. You know, I always said, I'd like to see you do these aggressive styles. And they're like, well, yeah, but that doesn't always work. And if you do that all the time, everybody knows how to counter it, which is why they keep switching it up every game that comes around and keeps us on our toes as well as the viewers at home. And as well, it seems to be working very well for them. They won the US Spring and the Summer last year. Can they do it again this year? I mean, they're 3-0 at the start. They're playing Millennium next. What do we read into that one? Because Millennium are a team that all of the teams have been talking about saying these guys are going to be up the top at the start because they are doing really well in scrims. But scrims don't mean anything.
No, scrims, you know, the thing about it is you're not in the same mindset.
Yeah.
You don't play a scrim the way you play an LCS match. And I think that under the lights on the stage, Millennium, you know, they haven't looked bad. They haven't necessarily been destroyed. They lost a game to Gambit yesterday. And for 25 minutes of the game, they were dead even. They traded CS, they traded, gold, they were sitting side. But then as soon as Gambit got one successful team fight, they ended the game very quickly. And Millennium had no response to that. They didn't know how to react. And I think that's a weakness of the team that I can say quite clearly. Once a team starts pulling ahead of them, they are unable to pull it back. You know, Fnatic, they use death pushes. They wait, they bait you in, get a kill, rinse and repeat. And they use that as sort of their tactic to try and claw themselves back into a game where they fall behind.
And of course, we have one match less this season in the Super Weeks. There's only 15 games instead of the 20 we used to have before, so it means there's only be a 4-0. But we saw, obviously, Alternate last year at DreamHack, who are now known as Millennium, getting that 5-0 at the start. And that's because they were really aggressive. Yeah. We're seeing Roccat doing the same this season. Can they mimic that? Will the aggression work? Because there's teams out there that know how to counter it, and I'm thinking Gambit.
My eyes are on Roccat today. My eyes are on Roccat. They're 2-0 at the moment. Today they play the Copenhagen Wolves, and then they play Alliance. And if they win both of those matches, they're sitting at a potential 4-0 along with Fnatic. And I think the Copenhagen Wolves were my dark horse team throughout all of our prep, throughout all the interviews we've gone through. And I think I'm changing my mind to Roccat after seeing how well they're performing. I thought they were this slow, reactive team, and that's how they played against Ninjas in Pajamas at the qualifiers. And they come to the big stage, and they're like, no, look, you people expect this. Every video, all the other teams have said they're slow, we just play aggressive. And they just turn it on.
Yeah, they turned it around. And it's a team that has been around for a long time. They've got a lot of together. So let me just give you a quick update on what's happening in the game. They are going to remake the game right now because there was an issue. We're only 47 seconds into the game, so it makes sense to just do a quick remake. It was, I believe, N-Rated's PC was having an issue, so we're just going to get themselves back into the game. I'm going to do it myself as well and get on with it, Trevor. So it's going to be the same picks and bans, by the way.
Exactly the same picks and bans.
The same picks and
same
bans.
summoner spells, same runes and masteries. It is also going to be a blind pick lobby because we know what those champions are, so they should be able to get this one jumping in very, very quickly. Players are, of course, just confirming between themselves and arranging themselves in the lobby. And I think, once again, I just want to stress the fact that this Galio support, I feel, is a very risky pick. But I think it just adds to the number of unique champions we've seen. Gambit have been able to win with Warwick in the top lane and Kennen as your support. They won games with Amumu as support at Battle of the Atlantic. And I love the fact that we are now seeing some more oddball picks. But I also am a little hesitant because I think this is a risky one. Galio can interrupt a lot of people, but or can taunt a lot of people, but there's a lot of interrupts from the side of Super Hot Crew that could ruin his day.
As the players sort themselves out, you can see they're just typing away because they're in chat. Look at Mr. Raleigh on the end. Even on the chair, this guy looks huge. I mean, I want to take you to... He's 2 meters tall, by the way. Anyway, there was a lot of people asking me how tall he was because I look like a midget stood next to him. I'm almost 6 foot. I'm not that far off. And he is enormous. He's 6'5", 6'6". He's a ginormous kid. He's taken the trophy, the record, off Wicked. I wonder if Wicked's, what he's thinking of that, because a fellow Dane's come along, a budding. And also, I believe, without checking this one, I believe he's now the youngest member in the LCS as well.
I'd have to double check it. I'm not too sure. It sickens me that they're on the stage at 18, 17 years old.
17 in October, I believe.
I also owe you an apology. We've taken, with the break, we've taken a look at some of the stats, and Castellan has in fact been banned in every single game up till this point. That's 11 bans out of 12 games. This is the very first game he was not banned, and he's instantly locked in. Well, 5th down. But he is secured on the side of SK. So we'll have to see how Cassidy performs. It's a champion that has the ability to completely dominate games. And when you run it with that flash teleport, it's something Pekka did multiple times last year. And he jumps into fights, jumps into lanes wherever there's kill potential. And I think it's a smart choice if they can get Jez's rolling.
And we're waiting for the match to start up. Looking across at our screens, nothing yet. So they're just keeping and waiting for getting this game underway. And this is actually going to probably bleed into the nerves a little bit, I guess. First game of the day, though. These teams have been ready and waiting for this one.
It's quite interesting because between the two teams, I think that SK should have a little bit more stage experience, with Svenskeren, Candy Panda, N-Rated, Freddy. They've all been in situations like this. Jez's is the new kid, but he was down on the qualifier stage. He was down at DreamHack. They were 1-1 where they bounced back to pick up wins. And as a team, they were saying how important that LAN experience was in helping them not lose to SUPA HOT CREW the first time. SUPA HOT CREW on the other side, they lost the last time they had a big set. They lost 3-2 to SK Gaming in December. And we'll have to see how they handle this if the nerves, if the tension does affect their gameplay.
So let's look at the rest of the league. That's the 8 teams that are going out. Obviously, Fnatic running away with it at the moment. So, well, say running away with it. Just they're 3 games in.
Yeah.
We've got 28 games to play between these teams. So they're 3-0 up. Well, let's look at Gambit. Gambit didn't really turn up in game 1 at all. However, since then, they seem to have got angered and actually destroyed everyone. I mean, although saying that, yesterday, it was like a 20-minute farming session, and then they went, you know what, guys? Let's win the game. And then they just went straight for it.
So 2 things about Gambit. That's sort of as Gambit as you can get. They almost they start every tournament and event slowly. They always get off to a bit of a weak start. And I think Joe even quoted it yesterday saying that the team that plays Gambit after they've suffered a loss needs a little bit of extra care because they tend to get destroyed. And that's what happened to Copenhagen Wolves. As a team, Gambit has always respected Alternate last year, which is now Millennium, and I think that's why they played so slow. I think they were respecting their opponents, and they didn't want to give Millennium the chance to pull ahead. And the moment they won one team fight, they were able to get that Baron, and Gambit finished the game incredibly quickly.
So let's get back to the game. What are we talking about here? We want to talk about the team comps. Let's look at the mid laners, the likes of Kassadin up against the Gragas. The fact that we have the 2 supports. The Galio, we're not even sure what's going to happen in there. But the top lane, we've seen this so many times. Shyvana versus Mundo.
If Shyvana decides to go for a Blade of the Ruined King and sticks in the lane 1v1 against Dr. Mundo, Shyvana's going to win out in that matchup. But does need to go for that very early aggressive item and will have to be sitting in Freddy's face the whole time. Freddy sitting in Mima's face the whole time, just chasing him down. If he goes for that build and he doesn't play aggressive, he's not putting himself in an advantageous situation.
Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Take 2. It is going to be SK Gaming as the blue team on your screens up against the SUPA HOT CREW as the red team. And honestly, for me, it's probably one of my favorite team names so far. They've taken it maybe... Now, Moscow 5 was still my favorite team name, I think, but SUPA HOT CREW is definitely up there.
Yeah, it definitely is a cool name. They dropped the XD, sadly, after December, but
that's not a bad thing.
We'll see how they perform. Defensive starts from both of the teams. Please keep in mind, Kassadin has Flash Teleport, and Mima is running Flash Teleport in his Dr. Mundo. I think Kassadin's going to have a little bit more of an impact post-6 than Dr. Mundo will, but of course the control that Dr. Mundo offers you in team fights, especially around Dragon in the 10 to 20 minute mark, is going to play into SUPA HOT CREW's favor.
So it is going to be standard meta setup. No 2v1s, so at least Riot will be happy.
We're not on 4.1 just yet. We'll have to see how that affects the game. But right now, we are, of course, playing on patch 3.15.
I should point out, by the way, the players are very happy with that patch. Very happy. I was talking to them last night. They're very happy with the changes, especially the top laners, strangely enough, because they hate being put in the situation of 2v1. The backward prison lands on N-Rated immediately, catching him out there, forces him back. And, of course, the thing with Galio is he has got slow mobility.
Yeah, he definitely has that ability. The thing that is nice about Galio with his passive, he gains ability power based on his magic resistance. So Galio can just build full tank, get himself some MR, and he gains aggressive stats in that regard as well. Going to work into his favor. 50% of his magic resist gets converted to ability power, so it's a nice little win-win in favor of Galio.
And I'm interested to see what exactly he's going to level up, because he's obviously starting out. Resolute Smite, the Q, to you guys at home, is what N-Rated started as that support, but it is going to be standard jungler support. Actually, Candy Panda getting caught out by Aqua Prison already, losing half his hit points, quickly turning it back on towards Mixer's face. He does not get the landed though, and N-Rated missing the skill shot.
Yeah, N-Rated actually anticipating Mixer to step backwards. It's not over yet. Candy Panda and N-Rated have lost a lot of HP. Bubble doesn't connect, and Mr. Rolls goes in.
Side steps out of that bubble. Candy Panda continue to change, but look at this. Mr. Rolls just untouched. They're putting all the damage down. His Mixer doing what he should be doing, getting in their faces.
Candy Panda and N-Rated have to be very, very careful. If Mixer lands a good bubble, it could have enough damage from Mr. Rolls' Lucian to pick up a kill. There is an Ignite available. Once again, bubble doesn't connect, so no kill just yet.
It takes a lot of work to train yourself to step into the player rather than away from, which is exactly what he's been having to do about this Aqua Prism.
And we do see Mixer once again hitting level 2, so this is going to give SUPA HOT CREW the advantage in these trades. Going to have a little bit extra abilities to play with. And then Rated, we're going to keep our eyes on what he's leveling up right now. Put that point into the queue like you've already mentioned, the Resolute Smite. It does apply a slow to the explosive radius, so can at least interrupt Nami a little bit. Mixer, once again, playing very good zoning. This is what Yellow Star does so well from Fnatic. He sits sort of along with the minion line just in front of it and forces the enemy AD carry and support to step backwards and play defensively.
I would love to have been able to see what sort of runes they were going with this one. They both started with the Dawn and Shields. Looking at the junglers, we do see both of them double buffed up. Svenskeren has just left his bottom area, and Paler's coming in. He's going to find himself dry. There's nothing down there for him to take, but will he venture down to the bottom lane? I'm not too sure if he's going to go for that one. Jez is in the mid lane. Well, he's taking some damage, but he's keeping it up, and that's all he really needs to be doing is Kassadin up against the Gragas.
Yeah, the early game is so difficult for Kassadin to survive against Gragas. The wave clear is more in favor of Gragas. They've both got sort of an on-hit steroid they can apply to themselves, but you don't really want to be trading because Gragas can just out-poke you from far. I was just taking a quick look at N-Rated's Galio and his runes and masteries. He's got 11 mana regen per 5 seconds and a large amount of MR, so that's telling me where it is. We do see Impaler sneaking himself around the back line as well as Svenskeren in the top lane. So if they're going to go for a dive, it does look like it's going to be 3v2 under the tower, and that bubble is going to be key to holding SK in place.
Who's going to go first? That's the question, because in the top, Svenskeren's there. The bubble is key. It lands on towards N-Rated. It's not going to be enough damage, and they're going to force away from that one. N-Rated proving he's tanky. He's got that passive.
Yeah, very well played by N-Rated to get away, but I think Candy Panda actually saved his life. He landed the zap onto Mr. Ross. They've caught N-Rated.
They've caught him once again. If they're going to put the damage down, the Ignite's there. This should be enough. First blood. It goes to Mixer.
So well played. Once again, just landing yet another bubble. Mixer has been throwing them out over and over and over, and SK have been forced to react to every single time that Aqua Prison has been thrown out. Kill was secured for Mixer support though, so not necessarily 100% ideal, but lane presence, lane control in favor of the SUPA HOT CREW.
Well, he's gone straight for the coin. He's going to try and get himself some of that gold per 10, stacking up there. Meanwhile, the mid lane, will we see Svenskeren coming around the backside of Moops? Of course, Jez is only at level 5 yet, not got that Riftwalk available.
Not a lot of mana either. If the Cocoon lands, Moops could be in trouble.
Well, Moops is taking a lot of poisonous damage here from Svenskeren, just basic attacks, thins out that skittering spider, and just forces him away. That's a lot of basic damage he just did on the minute.
Yeah, with the help of the red buff and about 4 auto attacks, he did actually shred down Moops' HP. But Moops was, he had Flash available, he had Body Slam available, and Svenskeren basically said, yeah, I'm not really going to kill you, so I'll just poke you a little bit and force you away.
Here and basic attack you. Jez is still not level 6, which is what they're waiting for. Once that comes on, we'll see whether that map mobility works out for him. Teleport on him, on Jez's, and honestly, every time it's in Genesis, he's not been overly mobile, so this is going to be an interesting challenge for him, I believe, in the LCS.
It's going to be the first time, and we've touched on it multiple times. Kassadin is a champion that if you can get kills, you are a lot more impactful. But if you're locked down, if you try a gank, if you use that teleport, lose a wave and a half of CS and don't get a kill, you're going to fall further and further behind Gragas. The champions that are in the mid lane do very different things. Gragas is a lot of utility. He's got disengage, he's got engage, he's also got burst that can kill. But Jez's is about cleaning up a team fight, whereas Moops is really about starting it or ending it. Now, I don't want to fight now, knock everyone away. Those are his two keys.
On this top lane, we haven't been able to see a great deal of it, but look at Freddy 122, 55 CS to 37. big advantage for him built up here against Mima.
Yeah, the early levels for Shyvana, just so much more damage that you can put down. And, you know, Mima, once he hits 6 now with the Sadism, with his ultimate available, now he's going to be able to at least start pushing back and maybe trying to hold off Freddy. But I like that Freddy's playing aggressive. We'll see what his first buy is now as he is recalling. And if he goes for that Blade of the Ruined King, which it is going to be the item he's working towards, he's going to be getting even more aggressive in Mima's face. So expect Freddy to continue pushing, warding up the river, and maybe even seeing tower dives here from Svenskeren if they've got Ignite available for that Mundo.
And speaking of aggression, both AD carries going back, picking up that BF sword. So a lot of attack damage going to be stacking up onto him. So Jesus is going to get that blue buff in a moment. Svenskeren will trade that across towards him. Riff walks over and takes that happily. Also takes the little lizard, I believe it is, that's alongside them.
Yeah, no, I think they're lizards. I'm not actually
7
sure.
gold, whatever it is.
We do see Jesus now. He's picked himself up that Ruby Crystal as well as double Doran's rings. Still got that biscuit available. Did not actually use it in the opening trades. So we'll see how well it works out for them as Enrated is getting closer to level 6. With the Idol of Durand plus Teleport, I think SK's first gank attempt with that spell will most likely be on this bottom lane.
Well, Impaler once again is making his way down. This time he's been spotted out in there. You can see the Aqua Prisoner towards Enrated, followed by the wave. Is it going to be enough damage? The Chompers goes down, but Enrated's trying to dodge out there, and they do get away. Meanwhile, the jungle, you can see Impaler was getting collapsed upon, and they're going to turn this on towards Svenskeren, and Belly Slam comes in. Will he repel? Jesus gets on towards Impaler. They will get the kill. The rest of Super Hot Crew joining in, though. Svenskeren's in trouble. Where's he going to run to? Nowhere, because Mr. Rallis is there.
So they trade 2 kills for Super Hot Crew for the 1 of SK. On the bottom lane to touch very quickly, Mr. Rolls did not have the culling available, even though Mixer was level 6. We do see now Candy Panda and Enrated catching out Mr. Rolls. Once the culling was not able to get used, it meant Enrated and Candy Panda got away cleanly. And then you are right, it was 1 kill for 1 in the jungle. Simply put, Svenskeren and Jesus got a little caught out. And there's Freddy on Mima.
Dragon's Descent used on Mima, and immediately the moment he pops that sadism, he's like, yeah, I can't really kill him. I'm just gonna walk away here. Just tippy toe away.
If Freddy waits for his Dragon's Descent to wear out, then regenerates his Fury with the auto attacks, he can actually dive Mima in the next sort of minute before that sadism becomes available. And once again, 15 CS lead, you see Freddy in Mima's face over and over. It's something we're going to continue seeing him doing, and I think Freddy's going to play the role of a split pusher this game.
Yeah, he's going to get that Spirit Visage up. That's going to start being problems. And once he gets that up, the regen is pretty crazy on Mundo, which is why he's one of the confident picks right now. In terms of CS between this bottom lane, it is very even. 71 to 74, both the same with that BF swords picking that up. And you can see, the gold-wise, actually is the lead, but of course, well, that's a 1 kill and assist for you. That's what it does for Mr. Alice.
Yeah, at this point in time, Candy's just farming very well, very confidently, even though he's been under a lot of pressure from Super Hot Crew. But if anybody's going to have the ability and the experience to do that, it is going to be Candy Panda. One of the things I do like about Galio, as we're seeing him level up, if they put Freddy in a split push situation like this, let him shove a lane down, the 4v4 power of SK with Galio's wave clear and his Idol of Durand is actually very effective under a turret. It can dissuade attacks, it can win you team fights in those situations, but the cooldown is very high. So, well, Enraid is going to be very careful once we start seeing defending towers.
The problem is for Impaler especially is because Freddy is up there doing this, he's realizing his jungle is not safe anymore.
Oh, look at Ray, he's flashed in!
That's going to be an Idol of Durand lands. Mr. Rallis teleport coming in from the side. There's Jesus. That's going to be Mr. Rallis going down. Mixer's going to be the focus target now. Quick force balls will slow him down. He's not going to be able to escape this one. Who will they give it to? It's going to be Candy Panda for a double.
And that's exactly what we talked about. The burst damage that Jinx can offer and the lockdown ability of that Galio. He holds in place the bubble as well as Mr. Ral's Lucian. They have caught Svenskeren, he's dead.
He's going to get caught out. I don't think he's going to be able to escape this one. Where's he going to repel to? Nowhere at all. Can he manage to get away? Belly Slam comes in, and Moops, well, he finished it with the explosive cask, a little overkill.
Yeah, the repel from Svenskeren avoided the first barrel, but explosive cask was always available, and now SK, they're going to pick up the first tower of the game, thanks to that flash engage from Enrated. We weren't expecting them to go that quickly, that early, but as soon as they hit 6, once again, Jinx starting off strong here in the 7th showing at the LCS.
That's a very good win rate so far, whereas Lucian only 3 wins, 4 losses so far for the Lucian pick. 5 wins, 1 loss for the Jinx pick. So Candy Panda seems to be going with the trend, but Dragon is being started off here by the Super Hot Crew.
Now we'll see if SK can respond. They've got their AD carrying support down the bottom, but no ultimates available. And I just think Enrated is going to poke this one down. Maybe a lucky steal, we'll see. Impaler's caught on the wrong side of the pit, and now Jesus may want to engage. He going in.
Impaler's taken very low here. He's going to get dropped. It's Candy Panda that picks up yet another. Moops now over. He may well be the next target. The ward goes down from Enrated. Candy Panda flashes through, gets himself the double. But he's going to pay the price. Mr. Rallis now goes down. Svenskeren comes in and cleans that one up. It's a 3-for-1 so far. There's no tower to run to. Mixer's going to drop, and it's a 4-for-1 to SK Gaming. Super Hot Crew may have got the Dragon, but I don't think it was worth it.
Not worth indeed. You can hashtag that because Super Hot Crew had good timing and good positioning, but they didn't get the Dragon quickly enough. And I think the moment Jesus was there, they needed to back away. They should have peeled back from that Dragon and not given up 4 kills. Candy Panda has a completed Bloodthirster at 13 minutes plus a Zeal now, and Jesus has his Rod of Ages already building up. To boot all of that, Freddy has a 30 CS lead in the top lane, and he's basically in complete control here. Mima can't do a whole lot to deal with him.
And Impaler comes around trying to protect his red buff. Freddy 122 was there. He's got the help of Svenskeren coming around with Smite available. We'll see where they're going for this one, but a 105 on a Kassadin. We've seen how dangerous it is when a Kassadin gets rolling. This could be massive danger signs for the Super Hot Crew.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, if you look at the champions, Nami, Gragas, Lucian, Xin, they're actually pretty, squishy champions naturally. So Kassadin plus the damage from Jinx is going to be able to take out any one of them. Flash is not available for Enrated, but he does have the Idol of Duran, so he's going to be looking to once again use that ultimate to set up an aggressive push. And with a Spectre's Cowl, he's built himself up some MR to survive the damage of Gragas, and he's given himself a nice chunk of ability power thanks to his passive.
So it is a turnaround. Enrated now in this mid lane, going to help out Jesus to try and push it forward. And now we've got to the stage where Gragas is actually going to start struggling to keep up CS with Jesus. Jesus has passed that point of no return. Level 10, going to got all the ability power. He can start wiping those waves of that Force Pulse.
Yeah, and thanks to having the blue buff from Svenskeren, that's also helping him out. Pink wards both in the same bush, so Impaler and Svenskeren trying to set this up. Impaler's going to go in on Sven.
Impaler tried to give a different direction there, tried to say, I'm going to go for the ward. No, I'm going to dive onto Svenskeren. Didn't fall for it, just quickly repelled away straight to his wraiths. And that was an ultimate used by Mixer without any response here. And SK Gaming, they may push to mid now because there's only the explosive cast to keep them away.
Yeah, very smart play from Svenskeren to just jump away to that Wraith camp, and I think SK now have the ability to pick a fight knowing that massive AoE ability is not available. And you see them grouped in the mid lane right now. Super Hot Crew cannot defend this tower, and as soon as this minion wave gets up here, SK Gaming are going to put a lot of damage to it. Explosive Cask is available for Moops, so I think he's going to need to use it if he wants to hold them off.
They went across to the blue buff, and they really put a lot of value. Teleport coming in. This is going to be Mima joining the fray. Ganch's on towards Svenskeren, gets the slowdown. Will there be enough? Explosive Cask is available. Good slow coming out from Enrated, catching 4 members there. Jesus rejoins the party while this is all happening. Well, Freddy 122 is taking the top tower.
Freddy's not going to leave the split pushing game. Super Hot Crew are going to have to try to deal with Shyvana, and while they're doing that, the flash engage is now available for Enrated. He's working himself towards the Nomad's Medallion and the coin to jump in there, and as soon as he catches members of SK, they're going to be able to pick up a kill. Explosive Cost defensively, but all that's going to do is delay this going down.
Candy Panda taking some shred from the Cullen, drops him down to half health, and he has to back away from that one. It is going to be a 4-1-2 Candy Panda though, because he picked up those 3 kills earlier on, and it is a big advantage for SK Gaming right now. 3,000 gold stacked up. They've still got 2-0 with turrets, and Super Hot Crew seem a little bit lost here. They're going to try and push them in.
They've got a 4v3 situation, and Candy Panda cannot respond quickly enough. So Super Hot Crew should be able to push this tower down if they can deal with the Idol of Duran. They are a little bit afraid of that initiation, and I think wisely don't want to commit to a fight, especially now knowing Freddy is not seen. He left the top lane a couple seconds ago, and Freddy's just lying in wait. We heard from Candy Panda yesterday that when Freddy is running that Shyvana, he wants to engage from the side. He wants to flank the team, because that's when the Dragon's Descent is the most effective, and he can get straight to the back line. and that's the exact positioning that Freddy wants to be in.
Forcing Impaler to use that smite there. Svenskeren didn't have it available himself, but Dragon's going to be up in a minute and a half, so no worries there. It should be back. Dragon's instead using that top lane. Mima does use that ultimate. Is it going to be enough regen? Forces him to flash away, and Freddy seems to have his number.
Yeah, Freddy didn't even use his flash or his ignite, just a simple ultimate that's very easy to get back up, and once again, extending that lead is now 50 CS. And this is going to delay the power of Dr. Mundo an extensive amount. This is going to add 10, 15 minutes worth of farming and stall to SUPA HOT CREW's strategy and tactic to make Mima effective. But they do have timing on the Dragon, and we're hoping that SUPA HOT CREW position wards and themselves better for this objective, because SK picked up way too many kills the last time it happened.
Well, it is free farm at the bottom down that for Candy Panda. He just gets back, buys himself some items, and you can see that Bloodthirst that's completed in there, along with that Zeal, which he's had for quite a while here. Meanwhile, Mr. Rallis, he's done the same, but he's gone for the Phage instead, so possible Trinity Force coming out from both of them. Actually, I suspect Candy Panda will probably switch to a Static Shiv, maybe.
I think it'll most likely be a Static Shiv. Get more wave cleared down. The Static Shiv proc plus his Fishbone's rocket launcher on Switcheroo's Q makes shredding waves very, very effective. And also, when you've got that 4v4 situation, which I think SK Gaming will be doing a lot, they want as much wave clear as quickly as possible so that the tower is tankier, beefier, and more difficult to take down.
Yeah, Freddy122 is making his way down towards his middle lane here, and the pings are going wild. You can see they're going to come around. They're going to try and group up. The Dragon is up now, and that's where they're going to be targeting. Mixer's going to get caught out by the blue buff. Jezis is coming rift walked across. He's already had to use that ultimate, but he can see just a repel catches on towards him. The Cocoon's in there, and that is going to be the ultimate death rocket, whatever you want to call it.
So well played by Candy Panda, but Sven just soloed him completely. Even if the rocket didn't come in, Sven was going to be able to secure that kill. Now, with the support down and Tidal Wave being used, SK Gaming are going to force down the Dragon. Freddy's going to be a little careful as every single member of SUPA HOT CREW is here. However, look for the flash engage. When you keep our eyes on Enrated, if SUPA HOT CREW get surrounded like that or get flanked by Enrated's Idol of Durand, that's going to be an easy team fight win for SK Gaming.
Yeah, they've had to back away from this one, and they've actually scattered to the wind a little too quickly, I feel. Moops is just going to have to be left to clear that, because look at the bottom. Candy Panda straight back down there, needs to keep up that farm. He's actually fell behind Mr. Rallis, only just, and he's about to surpass him again. But in terms of kills, well, gold-wise, not even close. 5-1-2, 7.6k to 6.6k. Mr. Rallis is doing a great job of keeping up, but he's up against a very well-fed Jinx. Yeah,
and Jinx is one of the best champions when she's ahead to stay ahead. Because of the ability to slow you down, hold you in place then with the Flame Chompers, and then execute you with all the damage, it's a very difficult champion to deal with. Every time a ward gets placed in this bush, Candy Panda is there to clear it out. He's basically defending the bottom half of the river. He does not want SUPA HOT CREW to get the jump on him or to surprise him. And if you look at the vision around Dragon, because of the previous play by SK, they've actually got a superior positioning for this potential next engage.
There's so many pings going on between these two teams right now. They want to try and box in Svenskeren, and he's not going to fall for it, though.
Yeah, if Svenskeren carries on getting up, this is a very big bait here from SUPA HOT CREW. They know blue buff is up, Sven's been caught, and here comes the crew.
Aqua Prison gets on, but immediately puts the Cocoon out. The rest of the team are there. This is a very enclosed gap, and N-Rated really wanted to try and get that flash idol there. He immediately had the help of Candy Panda. Force Pulse comes across, quickly rift walking in there. Jezis can join the fray.
Yeah, teleport is also available for Mima, so if a fight were to break out, Mima could teleport in and make it a 5v4. However, it would be at the risk of losing that top outer turret. Freddy122 has not stopped, and here comes Mima.
Teleport coming behind it towards it, but it's going to be too soon. A flash idol, here we go. They're all grouped up. Can they go for it? N-Rated's taken so low. He does, he catches all 5 members, quickly gets popped straight out of it. Have they got the damage to turn this around? No, because they do not have Freddy122, but they've lost one support for the top tower.
Impaler did very well in that situation. He primed his 3-talent strike, interrupted the Idol of Durand, and unfortunately for SK, they didn't get anybody low enough for the Mega Inferno rocket to work. However, for that one fight, they get 2 turrets, the top inner and the mid outer, extending their gold lead to 6,000 gold. And I think SK will just keep doing that over and over and saying, if you leave Shyvana alone, the next one is going to be an inhibitor turret.
SUPA HOT CREW trying to gather for this mid lane, but that's maybe going to be Svenskeren caught out. Repels, nowhere to go. Goes across the mixer. Gets away. No, not quite. Impale's going to pay the price, so he tries to jump onto Candy Panda. Not really who you need, because he's just going to turn and run. Gets the attack speed buff. Gets onto Mixer. Mixer's going to go down. Jesus picks up that kill.
Now SK can stick in this mid lane. They can actually push onto the turret. Having both of those kills and a minion wave pushing up behind them within rated, they're going to be able to get themselves a 5th tower of the game. There's very little that SUPA HOT CREW can do to deal with this. Maima's got his ultimate, but you can't deal with 5 members of SK.
Explosive cast gets thrown out, blows Candy Panda back a little. Didn't fancy that one anymore because he's lost half his health. That is going to buy them time and keep that inner turret safe.
So well played there by Moops. I didn't realize that ultimate was going to be available as soon as it was, and I think very quickly to pull the trigger. Doesn't want to fall further behind, doesn't want to give SK Gaming more gold to work with. Still want to highlight the fact that this is the first time Candy Panda may actually be backing since his very first pickup. He's sitting on 4,000 gold. And in this team fight, the reactionary play from SK is what counted. Svenskeren pulled enough members of SUPA HOT CREW in to think they were going to get an easy kill, and then they get excited, plus Riftwalk Flash. You can't get away from that. It's too much mobility and speed to work with. Has Candy Panda backed off? He has finally. He was sitting on 4,000 gold, and we'll see what he's going to be picking up. I actually think he's talking to his team, discussing what do I want to complete. Static Shift wrapped up, as well as those Berserker's Greaves. Still got 1,200 in the back pocket, so going to carry on earning in almost the makings of a Last Whisper. So a very successful purchase for him.
I think he was probably discussing Dorgo. Pickaxe straight for the Last Whisper. Should have get that Static Shift. Did indeed. Just seeing exactly what they want to do. But 613 Candy Panda. It's the Candy Panda of old.
Yeah, he could have even gone for an Infinity Edge. I mean, he was 4k gold, could have just got that straight out. But I think smartly understanding the strength of SK's comp, they want to play Shyvana split pushing plus a 4v4. Idol of Durand is once again available. We're getting closer to the Ancient Coin being therefore rated for the movement speed, engage. And I think SK will just keep doing this over and over and over.
And we see that SK Gaming now that they have control, they're starting to get the ward control, they're starting to put those sweepers as well, so they're just suffocating the SUPA HOT CREW.
Yeah, and their vision has been very good so far. If you look at the minimap, there's about 5 wards in the top half of the map alone, and you see Candy Panda pushing this very big wave. The rest of SK realizing there's an opportunity, and then moving down to catch him. Impala is at risk of getting popped here.
They fancy going for it. Candy Panda's going to close the gap. Super Mega Death Rocket did get thrown out, but it didn't really get the damage that he was after. Candy Panda actually took a bit of damage from the Cullen.
Thanks to the Impaler being down, and that's one of their primary sources of engage here for SUPA HOT CREW, it's allowed the rest of SK Gaming onto this bottom lane inner turret. 50% of the HP is already shredded, and we still see this split push game. Everywhere Freddy goes, Maima tries to respond.
He's trying to follow him, sticking to him. And Mundo not really going where he pleases here, he's going where Freddy pleases as it stands, and it is the middle inner turret that they are fancying, but they don't have Candy Panda with them, so I don't expect this one to last long.
Not particularly long. We'll see how quickly the SK can respond though, because the fact that Candy's late and that he's sticking to the split push has allowed SUPA HOT CREW this opportunity, and they're going in.
They're going in. Can they catch on towards it? Cocoon lands back on towards Maima, immediately forcing him back. The wave comes out. Freddy 122 joins the party from the back. They know that Mr. Rallis isn't here, so it's a straight up 4v4. Mr. Rallis will come in from the side in a moment. Svenskeren get caught out quickly. Explosive Gasket's got minions to jump to. Mr. Rallis now in the fight. Candy Panda coming around the side. That's going to be the first kill for Moops. Will they go for anything else?
They can't. SK are on full retreat, and losing Svenskeren means SUPA HOT CREW have the ability to push them down. If SUPA HOT CREW stick around at low HP, there is the execute potential of that Super Mega Death Rocket, but I don't think it's going to work out for them. SK a little bit of a mistake there. I think they weren't grouped up enough. They wanted to return to a 1-3-1 type of push, and SUPA HOT CREW did the right thing. They immediately ran them down, took a lot, but they did get themselves a kill.
But they still don't get any objectives. All they got was 1 kill, and SK Gaming come back, clean themselves up another dragon to actually extend that gold lead. So again, SUPA HOT CREW, they're chasing this game, and it's just not working. SK Gaming are in a dominant position, but we saw yesterday Copenhagen Wolves are in the same situation against SK. They've got to be careful they don't let this one slide.
Flash and Idol of Durand is available here for Unrated. If Mr. Oz goes any further, he's going to get caught, but he should be able to back away. And I think SK, they now need to hold on to the lead, and they need to close the game out. When they played against Millennium, Millennium took a very, very, very long time to shut them down, and that was thanks to Ziggs and Lucian combined. Gragas and Lucian not as effective, but still very difficult to siege, as the wave clear is very good from both of those. And SK with another advantage, stealing the blue buff.
Blue buff taken away. They got themselves the ward as well. Looking in towards the top lane, Jez is now going to be split pushing away. Keeping up the farm with Moops, keeping very even between these two. AD carries actually keeping very even as well. It's clearly Freddy heading away on Mima. Like you say, Mima's having to just track where he goes every time. Mima trying to keep the split push going. It worked so well for him when he had Mundo before.
Yeah.
But as it is, up against Freddy's Shyvana, he doesn't seem to have a chance.
Blade of the Rune King Shyvana is a counter to this Dr. Mundo. He's able to control him, keep him on the back foot. Right now, SK are looking for a pick. They wanted to get Mr. Rolls in the bottom lane. It didn't happen. Now, they're using those sweeping lenses, 3 of them added up, to clear the vision from Super Hot Crew, and they're waiting for somebody from Super Hot Crew to overextend, that they can use their assassin-y champions to kill him and then push down a respective tower. But Super Hot Crew are playing defensive and smart, and if they don't have vision, they're actually not pushing on that part of the map. So you have to give them props for that.
They're playing it by the numbers as well, taking all the outer turrets, then all the inner turrets, and then slowly working their way in towards the inhibitor turrets. Haven't yet got that bottom or mid just yet, but that's the next focus target. Freddy wanted to keeping the pressure on the bottom. I'm surprised they're not going top and bottom rather than the middle.
I definitely think that's what they tried to do a moment or two ago. They actually got the bottom turret very, very low, but then ran out of minions. And I think because Super Hot Crew forced them in that fight in the middle lane with Svenskeren and died, now SK have slowed the game down and said, right, we've got to be more careful where we pick. If we're not grouped up with all of our abilities and we're not, tightly knit enough, then Super Hot Crew can actually run us down. You've got a very mobile comp. Nami gives movement speed to all of her allies, and it allows Zinza and Dr. Mundo to just keep chasing over and over. And with all the mobility on both teams, it literally just depends on who's got more members clustered together than your opponent.
Well, they're pinging like a fury right now. Freddy 1-2-2 may well have got separated. Candy Panda is heading south, so he's not with his team. Quickly gets called straight back there because 5 members of Super Hot Crew have gathered around that mid lane area.
SK will go bottom. The fact that there's nobody there and this mini wave's going to push up so quickly, SK will most likely pull their players from the mid lane to the bottom. Freddy's going to run interference. If he can keep 2 members of Super Hot Crew here, this could lead to the tower.
Aqua Prism was used. They are going to have to use the Dragon Descent across towards the Baron, but they does, like you say, keep the interference going. Doesn't manage to get up the top there, but that's Moops having to come down and clear that wave once again. Candy Panda makes his way back up here. SK Gaming trying to use 4 members to go for the mid.
Yeah, they see with the Moops clearing out the wave on the bottom, and now all of a sudden Impaler and Mr. Rolls clearing the wave in the mid. SK are struggling to find an opportunity, struggling to find an open window to go through. As we say that now, they finally move bottom. A little bit later than I was anticipating, but this will be the tower for sure. There's nothing Super Hot Crew can do about it.
Yeah, with Freddy and Candy Panda there, they can take that turret down very quickly indeed, and then it's going to be now 5-0 for SK Gaming up against the Super Hot Crew. They beat them 3-2 in the qualifiers to make it here in the LCS, and it seems, barring any throw, that they may do it again.
And public opinion felt Super Hot Crew were going to win this one. We do see Jez is immediately running away. Riftwalk will come up in just a second. I thought he may want to go for Mixer, but he doesn't have his death cap finished yet. He opted to go for a Void Staff first, just to burn through any of the resistances that have been built up by the Super Hot Crew members. And I actually think that was a wise decision. Once he gets his death cap and potentially even a Deathfire Grasp, if he goes that route, he's going to be able to just insta-give somebody from Super Hot Crew and allow the Shyvana Elise combo to run down the rest of the team. But we're not going to see too much action in a 5v5 until they're in front of a tower. I don't think Super Hot Crew are going to pick a fight in open ground because of the strength that SK Gaming have.
And they realize they can't do a great deal, certainly against the likes of Freddy. They've seen this one before against the Copenhagen Wolves. They caught Freddy in the bubble, not really who they wanted. Svenskeren would have been much more favorable or N-rated, but you can see N-rated, he's got 2,500 hit points himself now as a support, so he's not even a squishy target to go for.
Giant's Belt, as well as that Spectre's Cowl, hasn't actually upgraded his GP10 to that Talisman like we've seen from the side of Mixer. Oh, they've gone in on Mixer.
Dragon Descent on Mixer. N-rated's just biding his time to get the Idler Duran. He's actually taken a lot of damage from the cull in there. Mr. Raleigh doing good job running interference, but Impaler's been caught out. Explosive cast, can it buy him time to get away from this one? For some reason, Freddy's deciding to target on towards Mima, the tankiest member of the team. He's just going to pop that ulti and run away. Is it going to be enough? Gets slowed down. Has he got flash? Yes, he has. Doesn't even want to use it, though. He's just trying to buy as much time as he can. And honestly, I got that question, SK targeting there.
Yeah, a little bit weird. I think Enrated made the call because he took so much damage to back away. I definitely feel like with all of the culling damage being focused on him, he's like, no, 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 don't fight, don't fight, don't fight. He wasn't confident in his idol of Duran. So because of that, it forces SK backwards. A lot of things, spells were burned on the side of Super Hot Crew. However, SK have got it available. They steal the red buff. They may even want this fight. Flash Idol is still up. And Enrated's looking for it. He's looking for an opportunity.
Explosive Cask is back up though, so he has got that if he needs it. Freddy wanted to, of course, with that Dragon Descent. If he just keeps wiping out this wave, he's going to have it back available very soon.
Now, if Freddy had been in the top or the bottom lane as opposed to the mid lane, that fight could have been drawn out, and they could have forced Super Hot Crew to take a lot of tower damage. But instead, they were roaming as a 5-man unit. I think Freddy's a little bit afraid of the teleport, which has been available, and is a little bit scared of Super Hot Crew once again initiating with that ability. With Dragon up, both teams are going to group up around it.
Actually seems that Candy Panda did just go past it. He could have took it himself, but realized it was a dangerous situation. They're actually waiting. The rest of SK Gaming are coming in here. This may be a bait on Super Hot Crew's part.
I actually think it's trying to be, but the damage and the lead that SK have built themselves up, it can backfire very quickly. If Super Hot Crew don't get the right target, like the Sven or the Candy, it's going to work out very badly. Flash Idol, that's where your eyes need to be. Galio up on the top left, and in this tight area, Freddy there. SK could even peel away and just go for the mid inner turret once the wave starts pushing as well. So a lot of options here for SK, and I think Super Hot Crew, they've started the Dragon. They're going to try to take this Dragon, and SK are looking for the engage.
Remember, they can take it quick at this stage. Mr. Rales will do a lot of work to it. And you can see Sven Skåren, he's low already. He's going to come in. It's going to be SK, a Super Hot Crew to pick it up. Idler Duran does pop in. Paler taken very low. Explosive Cask forces Candy Panda away, but the Super Mega Death Rocket can get fired from range. And he gets himself a kill, followed by the double from Jezis. Mimer's going to run for his life, but I think the Force Pulse should be enough to slow him down once Jezis gets on. Gets himself full health.
I definitely think SK should maybe just peel away and go for the tower. That should be the smart move. Jesus is chasing him down. The rest of the team making it very, very clear. They want to get Mimer away. Now they realize Baron is available with 3 members of Super Hot Crew not there. They can deal with Mimer if he moves into the pit. SK Gaming putting a lot of priority on this objective. They want the regen. It's going to allow them to go for those sieges as well as those split pushes very effectively, and that's theirs.
Yeah, that would have to be a very impressive briefcase to fly through the ether there to try and get that kill on the Baron. So SK Gaming now, after coming out, what, 3-1 in favor of that fight, 3-0, sorry, in favor of that fight. They do have themselves the Baron and a giant lead. Let's take a look at that fight once again.
Yeah, so one of the things you really want to look at is how quickly that Idol of Duran gets interrupted. Even though it caught 3 members, it was cancelled very quickly. And the reason that SK Gaming won this fight so convincingly is just how scary Freddy is. He forced 3 members of the Super Hot Crew backwards, carried on chasing them with Burnout in that Dragon's Descent form, and Super Hot Crew was so terrified of him that Candy Panda was left untouched. Mimer tried the same, but he's so far behind in Dr. Mundo, and he doesn't offer that same presence with his super tank build that SK weren't worried about him.
And honestly, it shows why Kassadin has been 100% banned, because with that Shyvana, with the Kassadin following through, you have so much to just dive past the front wave, just pile on through, and so much damage now coming out of Jezis. He's 4-0-7. This is certainly his best performance in the LCS.
Yeah, Rabadon's death cap completed now. He's also working himself towards that Zhonya's hourglass. So as you said, when he dives with Freddy, he's going to have those couple seconds of invulnerability, which will buy Sven Skåren and Candy and then rated time to move in and around them. Now, with all the HP regen they have, they can actually start doing these extended sieges. Even though there is a lot of poke that can come out of Super Hot Crew and some very good wave clear, SK have got a couple of minutes where they simply outperform and out-sustain their opponents, and I think they should stick to this tower for as long as is needed.
Yeah, they just pinged the next wave. I'm pretty sure it's a Siege Minion wave that's coming through, so that's what they're waiting for. They're going to try and shove on, that's why they're waiting. You can see Idler Duran available, Sven Skåren taking a little bit of poke. Freddy 1-2-2 just trying to buy himself some time, but remember they have that Baron buff. They bought themselves time. Here comes the Minion wave. There goes the turret.
Super Hot Crew cannot contest that one. I don't even think they can contest the inhibitor turret right now if SK were to stick for it. Now, there is a Minion wave pushing against SK in the top lane, which Freddy is going to deal with, and I expect Freddy's going to try shove the top lane in, and they're going to force SHC to respond. Defend top or defend middle, because we're going to be knocking on both of those doors.
Well, we saw yesterday Roccat up against Millennium. Once they were 6-0 up, there was absolutely nothing Millennium could do. Not quite as much assassination coming out from SK Gaming. They're not diving for those kills. They're not going mad in it, just like Overpower and Jankos was yesterday. But this time, it seems that SK Gaming have got themselves a dominating lead, and I don't fancy they're going to throw this one.
No, I definitely don't think so. 12,000 gold plus Baron buff and all the additional stats that it gives you. The one thing I also want to, take a look at right now is just how scary this N-rated is right now. On that Galio, level 12, he's got himself up 125 magic resist, which actually gives him a bonus 62 ability power. And you'll see how effective this wave clear and slow is. The moment a champion gets connected by that Resident Smite's Q, they immediately just poke him. There's an explosive cask.
Only pulls in Freddy 122, not the champion you want. Certainly him in here, but Candy Panda takes a couple of tower hits. Does take him down to half health, but he's got that Guardian Angel now completed. Don't forget he's got the regen with this Baron buff as well. They're going to just rotate around, take out the next wave. He'll be back to full health before we get back in there.
A decent attempt by Moops, but definitely not the target they wanted. He was trying to solo out Candy Panda, and even though Candy Panda took a fair amount of damage, it wasn't enough to be scary. Mima's gone in.
They're going in for it. It's going to be Impaler they try and focus towards. He's taking all the front load from Candy Panda. Meanwhile, Island Duran pops in there. Mima's taking a lot of damage. N-rated will finally go down. And now Freddy 122 tanking up the turret. He's tanking a little too much of the turret. He may go down, but no, he escapes. Meanwhile, the rest of the team push on through. Mr. Rales forces them back, but it's a 2-for-1. Only the support down. They're going to keep on going.
Yeah, SUPA HOT CREW are gonna try to defend this turret, but there's not much that they can do. The amount of damage plus the Guardian Angel available for Candy Panda, they have to kill him multiple times if they want to stop the fight, and that's a dead Mixer.
That is a very dead Mixer, just quickly dropping straight on towards him. And SK Gaming, well, the Baron buff has worn out, so they're going to step away. Not quite finished the game just yet, but that was a very impressive siege. They did it just at the right time before the Baron buff ran out.
And there was no explosive cask to deal with. Because Moops had used his cask in the middle lane to try and set something up, SK Gaming knew that if they tower dove or they picked a fight, there was no displacement. There was nothing that was going to interrupt them. And that's the reason they went under tower. That's the reason they dove. So very well played by SK Gaming. With super minions pushing down the bottom lane, Dragon respawning as well. I think they're going to shop, heal, pick that objective up, and then start pushing the middle and the top lanes. Once again, just going to this basically grind, taking every tower, every objective you can before you finish up the game.
SK Gaming now 16-8 up, 7-0, inhibitor down on the bottom lane. Now the mid lane seems to be the target. The ping comes down from SK Gaming, and that is their next focus. Red buff was managed to get collected, but it's just a small bump on the road, I feel, for SK Gaming. They're going to get too worried about that one. Top lane, well, that's not really going to deal with itself, but they don't care about that because they're going to start setting up the Baron bait. Yeah,
at this point in time, Baron's coming up 1.5 minutes in with 4 sweeping lenses. It's a very clear strategy from SK. Deny the vision, force SUPA HOT CREW into a negative situation. If you look at the red buff area of the map here for SK, it's complete control on the site. The only wards that we've got in place for SUPA HOT CREW are basically in front of their own base, and they're incredibly defensive. They want, 5-10 second knowledge of where SK are going to be, and they will try to respond accordingly. I like the little play by Mima split pushing. They're going to allow him to use his teleport to join a fight, but I don't even think it's going to be enough right now. If SK try to catch him in, which I think they probably could, this might be a dead Mima.
Yeah, I wonder if Candy Panda fancies this one. He's coming down the bottom. Freddy 122 is going to join him as well. He's going to teleport away from here. Not going to get out in time, though. And that's going to mean it is going to be a 3-on-4 because if they take him down, the Baron's going to spawn in a minute. It's going to be a 4v5 at Baron. They're going to rush mid, though.
It's actually not the end of the world for Mima if he can pull multiple members of SK away. This is great. Teleport mid. SUPA HOT CREW, he's been caught.
The Chompers gets thrown out from Candy Panda and then steps away. No teleport for you, Mima. Have to use that ultimate, and now Candy Panda's going to run straight back to the mid.
So Mima buys enough time to pull SK back, delays that positioning for SK to maybe jump onto the middle or the top lane. But teleport is now no longer available, so Mima has to stick with his team, cannot go back to that split pushing. And actually, if that teleport had landed, SUPA HOT CREW would have had a 4-5v3 in the mid lane, which would have been to their advantage.
Would have been a big advantage for them as well. In that moment, it is SK Gaming trying to set up that trap, but pretty sure SUPA HOT CREW are not going to walk into this one. They know what's happening. They've seen this dance before, and they've unfortunately come out worse off for it. And that, in fact, stood on top of an SK Gaming ward.
This is the one time I think that Oracle's lens would work, and here comes N-rated for the Durant!
4-man Idler Durant, quickly followed by a burnout, followed by an explosive cast, followed by a force pulse, and SK Gaming just clean up that quickly. You can see the rest of Super Hot Crew trying to back away. They don't care about that. They're going straight for the top with that giant stack of minions.
Brilliant play from SK Gaming. They hid just around the corner in the bush, dodging the skill shots, not giving away that they were there, and the idol of Durant does not get interrupted. Now SK Gaming, they're on the Nexus turrets, and there's nothing that Super Hot Crew can do.
Straight onto the turrets. They shouldn't be going for my method, but they want to get that KDA stat buffed anyway. They're still not going to get him. Yes, they do, finally on the turret, but it's the Nexus going down, and it's SK Gaming coming out on top. The battle of the Brits, Freddy versus Impaler. Freddy 5 strikes first.
A fantastic performance from SK Gaming. It all started at that level 6 engage. The flash idol of Durant from the Galio. I was nervous how it would pan out, and I don't think Mr. Mixer punished enough to put him on the back foot. And as soon as Candy Panda got those 2 kills early on, he just rolled the way through it. 6 wins, 1 loss for Jinx in the LCS. 80 carry of choice.
9-1-8 now for Candy Panda in that on Jinx. 7-0-11. Jez is his best performance by miles in the LCS, and that's going to give him a giant confidence boost moving into the next game.
Cassidy's going to have to be banned. You cannot let Cassidy through in this particular style of play when you can roam, especially when you've got that teleport available in conjunction with all of the damage that comes down from Jinx. I think it's a great pickup, and I'm very impressed with how SK played. They are getting better with each game, and I think we'll see how they perform against some slightly stronger opponents as they finish the week 2-2.
So fantastic start, SK Gaming off to a win and getting themselves 2-2 for the week. Not a bad Super Week. I think they're going to look at it overall because, you know, that some of the games they had, they would probably be looking and thinking, okay, we should win that, or maybe looking at Fnatic and thinking, I know N-Rated wanted to win it, but realistically, they probably were thinking that's going to be a loss.
Yeah, the Fnatic game was very one-sided. I think there's a lot that they can learn from that game. They dug deep against the Copenhagen Wolves. They were behind. They played from behind. They clawed back a deficit, which is something not a lot of teams can do. We haven't seen Millennium showing any signs of life in that regard in the games we've seen so far. And in this matchup, what they also demonstrated is when they get a lead, they can snowball it, they can extend that lead, they can control the game, and they can also make sure that they don't make bad plays. I don't think they picked any fights that were negative. You know, they extended their gold lead further and further while still pushing objectives. It didn't take as long as it took Millennium to finish.
And from the Super Hot Crew, how do they take this going into the Gambit game later on today?
I think for the Super Hot Crew, it was all about the laning phase. I think they fell too far behind. They gave up too many objectives, and their decision to go for Dragon was wrong. So I think if they had not given 4 kills for a Dragon, that mid-game could have gone very, very differently. And I think just a little bit of decision-making. It's not all bad. I still think they played pretty well. They tried things even when they were behind, but it's just that early game they've got to work on.
Well, it is time for us to take a breather, but we'll be right back with Shox talking to N-Rated from SK Gaming, and then Millennium. They're going to be facing off against the league leaders Fnatic. Will Kraton and Jerry be able to stand up to the immortal Wrecking Crew?